The syllabus. His death sentence came in the summer of 1994. Looking back, Maury knew something bad was coming long before that. He knew it the day that he gave up dancing. He had always been a dancer, my old professor. The music didn't matter. Rock and roll, big band, the blues. He loved them all. He would close his eyes and with a blissful smile begin to move to his own sense of rhythm. It wasn't always pretty, but then he didn't worry about a partner. Maury danced by himself. He used to go to this church in Harvard Square every Wednesday night for something called Dance Free. They had flashing lights and booming speakers. And Maury would wander in among the mostly student crowd wearing a white t-shirt and black sweatpants and a towel around his head. And whatever music was playing, that's the music to which he danced. He'd do the Lindy to Jimi Hendrix. He twisted and he twirled and waved his arms like a conductor on amphetamines until sweat was dripping down the middle of his back. No one there knew he was a prominent doctor of sociology with years of experience as a college professor and several well-respected books. They just thought he was some old nut. Once he brought a tango tape and got them to play it over the speakers. Then he commanded the floor, shooting back and forth like some hot Latin lover. When he finished, everyone applauded. He could have stayed in that moment forever. But then, the dancing stopped. He developed asthma in his 60s. His breathing became labored. One day he was walking along the Charles River, and a cold burst of wind left him choking for air. He was rushed to the hospital and injected with adrenaline. A few years later, he began to have trouble walking. At a birthday party for a friend, he stumbled inexplicably. Another night, he fell down the steps of a theater, startling a small crowd of people. "Give him air!" someone yelled. He was in his 70s by this point, so they whispered, "Old age," and helped him to his feet. But Maury, who was always more in touch with his insides than the rest of us, knew something else was wrong. This was more than old age. He was weary all the time. He had trouble sleeping. He dreamt he was dying. He began to see doctors, lots of them. They tested his blood, they tested his urine, they put a scope up his rear end and looked inside his intestines. Finally, when nothing could be found, one doctor ordered a muscle biopsy, taking a small piece out of Maury's calf. The lab report came back suggesting a neurological problem, and Maury was brought in for yet another series of tests. In one of those tests, he sat in a special seat as they zipped him with electrical current, an electric chair of sorts, and studied his neurological responses. "We need to check this further," the doctor said, looking over the results. "Why?" Maury asked. "What is it?" "We're not sure. Your times are slow." His times were slow. What did that mean? Finally, on a hot, humid day in August 1994, Maury and his wife Charlotte went to the neurologist's office. And he asked them to sit before he broke the news. Maury had amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, a brutal, unforgiving illness of the neurological system. There was no known cure. "How did I get it?" Maury asked. Nobody knew. "Is it terminal?" "Yes." "So, I'm gonna die?" "Yes, you are," the doctor said. "I'm very sorry." He sat with Maury and Charlotte for nearly 2 hours, patiently answering their questions. When they left, the doctor gave them some information on ALS, like little pamphlets, as if they were opening a bank account. Outside, the sun was shining, and people were going about their business. A woman ran to put money in the parking meter. Another carried groceries. Charlotte had a million thoughts running through her mind. How much time do we have left? How will we manage? How will we pay for the bills? My old professor, meanwhile, was stunned by the normalcy of the day around him. Shouldn't the world stop? Don't they know what's happened to me? But the world did not stop. It took no notice at all, and as Mori pulled weakly on the car door, he felt as if he were dropping into a hole. Now what? He thought. Alright, I'm going to stop and start reading again on page 8. Thanks.